Hello viewers, welcome to tonight's program. I'm Hamza Idris. The controversy surrounding Nigeria's president-elect Bola Tinubu continues with the latest issue relating to the emergence of photographs and even videos show his alleged Guinean passport, which suggests dual citizenship. Summarily, Section 137 of the Nigerian Constitution states that any individual who voluntarily acquired the citizenship of a country other than Nigeria cannot be qualified for the presidency. The opposition parties and their candidates, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, and Peter Obi of the Labour Party, have filed petitions challenging the declaration of Tinubu as the winner of the presidential election. Meanwhile, the former governor of Lagos State and Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, defended Tinubu's dual citizenship by citing the constitutional right to possess dual citizenship. He also urged Nigerians to concentrate on whether or not Tinubu could deliver on his campaign promises. Before we proceed to the conversation of the day, I am compelled to first discuss this with my guests for tonight. I am joined by Baba Yusuf. He's a strategist and policy analyst. He's also the CEO of Global Trade Investment Company. Welcome to the program, Baba Yusuf.
Thank you for having me, Hamza.
Thank you. And then, anyway, before we have our second guest, maybe I should start the conversation with you. You have had the drama around Tinubu's dual citizenship. What is your take on that?
Well, it's part of the political drama, like you call it, political process. When I started hearing this, we have had snippets of it during the campaign, but it didn't precipitate as much as now. And the question some of us are asking now is why is it now an issue after the fact, after the election? That should have been, for the opposition party, maybe a campaign strategy, for the electoral empire, maybe an issue to evaluate, because during the accreditation or evaluation of candidates, you know, these are the things to consider before
they ought to have been brought up.
Because these have been vetted, and candidates are fully qualified in line with all the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Yes.
So now this issue being flagged by the critical stakeholders on the opposing side, and then we have an umpire that is supposed to flag this issue if the issue is there, leave some of us that are, you know, trying as much as possible to be apolitical to say, hey, hold on. Is it really something that we should look at, or is it one of those political diatribes? Whatever the case may be, now the smoke has been ignited, and like they will say in my place, very soon the snake will come out of the hole. The fact will be had.
Baba Yusuf, this appears to be double-edged. Double-edged in the sense that there is a constitutional provision that you should not obtain dual citizenship. Yes. Now, in the event Tinubu is found guilty of concealing vital information, even though you're not a lawyer, you think the sledgehammer will actually descend on him?
That is why I was saying that it is a bit
dicey,
odd. INEC was supposed to vet and clear.
I'm actually referring to the candidate. Why should people conceal certain vital information?
Well, for me, you know, talking about lawyers or no lawyers, I wouldn't want to jump to gun to say it is a fact he has dual citizenship. I don't have that fact. We are just assuming, or there's a presumption of that. There are allegations of that flying around for those that think they have the facts.
And honestly, up to this evening, I am also entertaining that, if not for the fact that former Lagos governor, as we said earlier, agreed that Tinubu has dual citizenship. I was thinking it was just the normal diatribe.
So now it's going to be tested. If the candidate concealed, the deed has been done. This is going to test the Constitution. This is going to test the regulators and all the critical stakeholders of ensuring the sanctity of the Constitution and that the process is followed. This is also going to confirm if indeed the candidate has concealed any information that is going to come to bear. And this is going to be another yet again litmus test to test the political process, to test Nigeria and see if we are really ready or we are really making progress.
Yes, and then for the electoral empire, I want to have your take. Beyond, of course, asking candidates, right, to fill forms. I've seen the form. There is where they said, are you a citizen of another country? You know, if yes, which country and all that. Should they just collect papers from aspirants without subjecting them to vetting, or without even calling for public opinion as to whether Nigerians have objections, maybe to display them ahead of time? They used to do that, right? So that Nigerians would now say, look, Mr. A is actually a citizen of Guinea, or citizen of Atlanta, or citizen of Ghana, or wherever. How do you think they can actually beef up their surveillance so that instead of going back and forth, because definitely if this comes to pass, we will have constitutional crisis in Nigeria?
Hamza is still not even beefing of performance. It's a function of doing their job. Compliance with requirements of their job. When you ask for people to present information, it is not, of course, for you to just collect and keep, especially for a critical process like this. The objective, ab initio, of asking for that information is such that the information will be confirmed and vetted in line with the principles of due diligence. You know, this is no jokes. This is affirmation, you know, of a process, or following due process to get to have the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I mean, with all due respect, even for hiring house domestic staff and all that, you try to do due diligence.
Yeah.
So it will be very unfortunate if INEC didn't do that in this particular instance, or in all
other
instances. Like I said, this will test it, because this will precipitate the issues. This will force the hands of critical stakeholders to come out and say, hey, these are the facts. Like INEC, oh, we have done the due diligence, we have confirmed. For President-elect, hey, this is the situation on ground, because this is where we are, you know, as we are today. But the Nigerian polity is evolving, and these things are playing out in a way and manner that at the end of the day, I believe they will strengthen our political process and better our political evolution.
Okay, finally on this, all over the world, framers of constitution are seen as wise men.
Yes.
Yeah.
And women.
And women, yes. Yes. What do you think is responsible for having that subsection that you shouldn't have dual citizenship?
To my mind, and I believe it is so, is to ensure loyalty and absolute commitment to the Nigeria project. To also ensure that you don't have a president that has multiple allegiance, in what I call a spy in the presidential seat, or an agent of another country as the president of your country. Is to ensure what is enshrined in the Constitution. You know, during the oath of office, you hear total allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You know, to ensure that in spirit and in action is what it is. And one of the provisions or requirements or provisions is to say, okay, if somebody does not have dual citizenship, it presupposes that it is highly unlikely that that person will have more than one loyalty. Well, we've seen people that have capitulated to other nationalities, you know, during the Cold War and even recently. But I think this...
Even 2 days ago, Nigeria granted such opportunity to
other people,
hundreds of people.
Yeah, so I think that is the idea, and it's a germane one, and it is a critical one. To that extent, I am personally not expecting to hear this conversation to be a matter that is being discussed today, including those that flag the issue now.
Yes.
Because it appears we are all running about knee-jerk activities and
looking for short routes.
Yes, because this is a critical information that could have been raised in the beginning. Of course, whenever the information comes, it can be used, you know, to ensure this is done. It is within their rights. It now remains for the stakeholders to come clean and come through.
And honestly, even though I say it's the last question, but I'm tempted to ask these people that have the wherewithal, that they take their wives to other countries to deliver their children in order to acquire the citizenship of that country. Will it in any way affect those children, or maybe we should leave this for lawyers to talk?
No, if you are asking my own opinion,
yes,
it is a function of the core values of the parents. Baba Yusuf and his wife, they want to build a home and the future of their home and their children. What is their objective, short to long term? That is what will define what they do.
Whether you should go to America and deliver your child.
Of course, it's a function of where we are as a nation. People are looking for fallback option, Hamza. And you don't blame them for that. It is our reality. Until the country gets to a stage where you are sure about where your country is and where it is headed. Only then you don't need to tell people not to have dual citizenship. Maybe they could for other reasons. Remember, even recently, Prince Harry, a member of the British monarch, tried to get another citizenship. So it depends on the objective, actually. It may be political, it may be economic, whatever. But whatever it is, let us strive to make our country such that people will be more interested in having, the citizenship of Nigeria than other. And interestingly, you see politicians, you see, top-line businessmen and women, doing this because we all know how fragile our state is. And people are actually looking out for themselves and their own.
As Nigerians prepare for the May 29th inauguration ceremony that will bring President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu into office, a crowd of supporters welcomed him back into the country on Monday, April 24. The president-elect had taken a one-month break following conclusion of the 2023 presidential and governorship elections, including national and state assembly elections, leaving many Nigerians puzzled about his plans for the country. Take a look at his.
The plane conveying the president-elect Bola Tinubu landed at the presidential wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport at about 4:20 p.m. local time. A large crowd is here to welcome the president-elect, who is accompanied by the Speaker, House of Representatives, and other leading members of APC. With Tinubu gone for about a month, it seemed political activities that would determine the direction of the incoming government were stalled. Now, those activities can resume to the delight of the party faithful, who believe his coming to power will bring about progress in all aspects.
This man is going to give Nigeria a new hope. Then hope will be waiting for. Whether you're a young man, you're an old, it's going to carry everybody along. It's going to be a teamwork.
Now that he's back in solidarity, we are all gathered to encourage him, to ensure that he comes by May 29th. He will hit the ground rolling. And what are the issues for Nigeria, for contemporary Nigeria? We're talking about the economy. We're talking about security. We're looking at the fragmentation in terms of the differences that was demonstrated by the opposition. Differences in religion, in ethnicity, and regionalism.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Daily Politics. I have in the studio Kende Amadu, who is our in-house analyst. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Yes, we are of course expecting another guest from Kazana. The studio, they are trying to hook up with him. But pending that, you've seen what we played, the arrival of Tinubu. Did you expect him coming back, going by all the noise that he was actually bedridden somewhere?
Yes, I expected him coming back. I think I was worried because, not because of the rumors of whether I was bedridden or not, but the fact that May 29, as at this point in time, is just over a month.
Yeah, a few days over a month, yeah.
And he needed to be back in the country to start establishing to start building the blocks of his new government. President Buhari spent 3 months doing that, doing consultations and everything.
And it extended to 6 months
And
before
extended to
announcement.
that was my main concern. That even after the fact that he had 3 months to do consultations, wide consultations, and it still took him 6 months to establish a cabinet. So
Yeah.
so that was.
But some were saying he wasn't really prepared for it, even though I stand to disagree going by I mean Buhari. But we knew that he contested 2003, 2007, 2011. It was during the fourth time that he got it. But still, because he took those 6 months to consult, then 3 months to consult, and then 3 months to compile the list. Some said that he was actually not prepared.
No, he was prepared. I want to believe that when he got in and he saw the figures, the papers on ground, he now understood what the real. It's easy to criticize from outside.
Yes,
government.
yes.
When he got in, what he found on ground was different from what he expected. So, in those kind of circumstances, not only the consultations, could he actually afford to pay his ministers? Do you understand?
Yeah.
You understand? So he had to just, go with it. He took briefings from permanent secretaries, to know how he could maneuver and get a game plan before he could start government. So he was more than prepared for it, but he was also on the cautious side because he didn't want to fall flat in his first 6 months of government.
Okay, Tinubu's handlers, they came out openly and said that latest 30 days after swearing in, he will announce his cabinet. Should we take that to the bank, or you have some doubts about that?
I think what a lot of people don't realize is that you can appoint ministers piecemeal. It doesn't necessarily have to have the full team.
Because you've been covering the villa for a very long time.
Yes.
Yes. But has it ever happened in Nigeria where the ministers were appointed piecemeal?
Yes, you can. You understand? Okay. You appoint the first 10.
Okay. Take your time, maybe for key ministries.
For key ministries. Then you appoint the rest of them when they come. When Obasanjo came in for a second time, that is what he did.
All right.
First 10 ministers to show we are prepared to work. Then he now took his time. And Obasanjo's mood of government was even different. He changed cabinet like 3 times. Yeah,
but still people are actually praising him for assembling one of the best cabinets in the history of Nigeria.
Because
by the people he brought from abroad, the people he picked from Nigeria, and all that.
Because he took his time. He knew the people he wanted. You see, when he did his first term, he was burdened by this idea of political reward.
Yeah, so those who worked for his emergence. Yeah.
So he had to reward the politicians. So the politicians were more or less.
And even created additional ministries. He had ministers representing geopolitical zones.
Exactly.
Apart from what the Constitution said, that you must have one from each of the states. Yeah.
So, after I did that, you understand, satisfied that was his first time, you understand, he weeded them out. He changed cabinets for like 2 or 3 times.
Yes.
There is, when you come into Daily Trust, there's a very, very interesting headline that is pasted on our doors.
Yes. Where they said, Danjuma, delay cabinet reshuffle.
Exactly. you understand? So
yeah, we still have it.
We still have it there.
Yeah, maybe it must be symbolic.
It's symbolic because
when the human resource here said that, okay, let's have this. Maybe it's a reminder to the politics played 2019 or 2009 or.
Mm-hmm. So yes, he can do it piecemeal. If they want a cabinet, yes, you will have a working cabinet by 30 days.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that all the cabinets, all the ministers will be in place.
Okay, Tinubu said that he's back and ready for the task ahead. But this is amid speculations around his health. Of course, you know, social media, the deep tech thing and all that. I saw one prominent person who honestly shared it with me, catheter somewhere here in the, you know, in the hands of Tinubu, saying that he's on drips. They are injecting blood. They are doing all sorts of things. Should we descend so low in bringing down our face? Because Tinubu is the face of Nigeria now, maybe from 29.
I think after he resumes as president, all this noise will die down.
After the swearing in.
After the swearing in, what has given rise to all these undue speculations is the fact that after he got sworn in, he now went abroad.
Yeah.
And so there was too much of a vacuum to allow everybody.
After he won the election,
After he won the election.
But don't you think he actually deserved that rest?
No, I think he deserves the rest.
This was the man that they said he cannot campaign. And I think he went around all the states.
Yes.
Was there any state that he didn't go?
There's no state. So he did the campaigns, rigorous campaigns for that matter. Even some of his younger opponents did not do the kind of campaigns he did.
Yeah.
So yes, he went and took a leave.
Yeah.
Before
a well-deserved rest.
Well-deserved rest before he came back. Now he's back. I think all the speculations and rumors will die down. You know, it happens to every president.
But some are saying, you know, before he left for the break, he said it was like a tripartite visit. Go to Paris, go to London, and then he will go for Umrah. Now, people do not see him at Umrah, despite the fact that hundreds of politicians, you know, throng Saudi Arabia in anticipation of maybe seeing him or seeing those close to him, because even the president was there. And to their disappointment, he didn't make it to Saudi Arabia. Do you think that this has to do with his health, or maybe he decided to go later?
He may have decided to go later. He may have decided not to go, because you don't know what his program was. You know, sometimes when you don't see a person, that vacuum created
suspicion, room for suspicion.
For suspicion and speculation. He probably was doing his own consultations. And even if he wasn't doing consultations, he still has the right.
Maybe he was meditating. All the troubles he went through to get the
I believe, or let me say, there is information that I'm privy to that he was consulting with all the political interests at home when he was there.
Hello viewers, welcome to Daily Politics. I am Hamza Idris. Has Nigeria's security situation improved? Well, this is left to be seen, as Nigeria's security forces have been claiming successes that recorded following the neutralization and dislodging of bandits and terrorist elements, recovery of large cache of arms and ammunition, among others. However, it is barely a month to the inauguration of the new government, and the questions such as what will be the legacy of the Buhari presidency in terms of security be? Did it leave the state of the nation's security better than it met it? What will be the agenda for the new government, and how much needs to be done to either consolidate existing efforts or re-strategize? This will form tonight's conversation, as we are joined by Dr. Kabiru Adamu, He's the managing director of Beacon Consulting, which provides enterprise risk security management solutions in Nigeria. Welcome to the program, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Malam. I'm delighted to be here again.
Thank you, yes. We will take a short break, and when we return, the conversation commences. Don't go away. Yes, welcome back. Doctor, this morning, there was upset around Riom, which is actually the gateway to Jos, the Plateau State capital. You heard of it?
Yes, of course I did.
Okay. Your taps are almost there. What really happened based on your findings?
Yeah, from what we heard, communities in about a couple of towns in Jos South local government and Barikin Ladi local government from Riom and surrounding neighborhoods were angered by recent spate of attacks. The most recent one was over the weekend on Sunday, where gunmen suspected to be armed Fulani militia raided.
That was the claim by the locals.
That was the claim by the locals.
It has not been proven by security operators.
Definitely.
Okay.
So they raided some communities, killed some of the residents, and so this morning they brought out the corpses of the killed persons, put them on the link road between, for anyone who knows that route, if you leave Abuja and you're going to either Jos, the Plateau State capital, or places like Bauchi, or even further up to
Chad, Cameroon.
Exactly. So
you
have to pass through that route. So anyway, they blocked that route in protest. And sadly, as normally happens when such situations occur, they targeted some of the commuters, perhaps on the basis of their identity or profile. And but the good thing is security forces immediately deployed, and they were able to take control of the situation and have brought it to some level of normality. However,
it's a time bomb.
It is a time bomb. The fact that the perpetrators of that act have not, the act that led to...
That is the Sunday's incident. Some said 7 people were
have not been arrested, have not been made public. Then the likelihood of a reoccurrence is extremely high. Let's not forget that apart from the presence of police and military in Plateau State, there is the ongoing Operation Safe Haven. And if I'm right, that operation has been ongoing for probably more than 10 years. I can't remember the exact number of years, but it's one of the longest running operations in...
It has become the normal thing in Nigeria, ad hoc thing to become permanent.
Exactly. So the reason why I brought this up is you would think that with this presence of security operations, that things like that will not happen in the States. Sadly, the complexity of the challenge, the security challenge in Plateau State, due to the divisions that have already crept in, even during the immediate last election, ethnicity and religion played a role. And what we don't want, and we are hoping that that is not what will happen, is that these two elements, ethnicity and religion, will begin playing a role like they did before the current Governor Lalong, because he did extremely well in terms of establishing structures that breached the gap that existed before he came to power. So the peace committee that he set up, in fact, I think he's the only state government that organizes and celebrates a national either peace or reconciliation day. So we're hoping that these are some of the things that the incoming government will embrace. He may have made some mistakes, no doubt, but there were positive things he did. I've mentioned this peace building committee.
Exactly.
He established early warning systems. Now, I think and
most importantly, he carried
everybody along.
Nationalities.
It was a government of inclusion, inclusivity. So I'm hoping that this incoming administration at the state level will also do the same. I wanted to mention the early warning systems that he had established. The challenge was that the early warning systems were there, but they were not incorporated into the federal early response systems. Now, because security...
It was actually domesticated around...
within the state. Now, because security is still in the exclusive list, the armed forces
and the other law enforcement agents that have weaponry are still under the control of the federal government. So if at the state level you have effective and efficient early warning systems and you don't integrate them into the federal system, then your response capability will be very low. Now, if an attack occurred on Sunday and the perpetrators have not been arrested, when running an investigation, we want to find out, did the community report it? If they reported it, how come the law enforcement agencies did not deploy immediately, either to prevent that attack or to arrest the perpetrators when it happened? So those are the kind of things that I expect, the discussions that I expect to hear, that I'm not hearing. And then we can now put pressure, perhaps, on the federal government to say, okay, these are the gaps that need to be blocked. And one of the things I'm hoping to see post-May 29, 2023, is this gap that exists between state governments and federal government is breached, so that communities can feel the effect of security. Then we'll stop having road blockages like the one we see.
Now, what is the essence of the road blockage? Because most of those caught up, they were not even aware that something happened on Sunday, and then they found themselves in a tight corner, because some, if I had to come back to Abuja, some had to...
Some have died, sadly.
Oh my God.
Their property has been destroyed. Sadly, we picked up several that have been...
so unfortunately, Doctor, this thing happened on Sunday. Today is Tuesday. How did even the people who were actually aggrieved found their way? I mean, to Wednesday, sorry, Wednesday. Today is Wednesday. How did they found their way to the main road to now display corpses?
There are failures of intelligence. I can bet it that there are SSS officials within those communities. Apart from SSS officials, there are police divisions. When such mobilizations are happening, if you have good intelligence collection capabilities, you pick them up. Now, there's freedom of association in Nigeria. Yes. You can't stop any community, any individual from grouping themselves.
Yeah.
But where that grouping would produce security challenges, then you have to find a way to either limit it or prevent it from creating that security challenges. So there's a failure of intelligence there. Now, we're assuming that the intelligence was not generated and that it wasn't shared. Now, if it was generated and it was shared, and then there was a failure of action, because we're in a transition. Government sometimes during transition, gaps develop. If that is the case, then we have to urge the incumbent administration that they haven't handed over yet.
Yes.
They're in the last lap, and that last lap may determine how we rate them. So let them not think that, oh, the elections are over, we're going to hand over to a new government. What we were doing before that led to applause should be abandoned. No. They should continue until that last day when they hand over to the new administration. But suffice to say, it's a failure of intelligence or failure to act on that intelligence. And then more importantly, the peace-building mechanisms that would have prevented such an action. I don't blame them really for the action because it has brought attention to their plight.
Yeah.
What I blame them for is carrying actions or attacks on innocent
transfer aggression of sorts,
exactly
in security parlance.
They can do their protest. They can draw attention to the activity. If you read our reports consistently, our monthly security reports, we highlight that fact that communities actually use protest to draw attention.
Welcome back. Engineer, the Defense House is now a mecca of sorts. Is it expected to be so?
Well, you know, democracy is about the people, and as soon as you have the president of the country, you know, elected and given all the legal requirement as far as the laws are, haven't been given the certificate of return by INEC. Was that produces to the tribunal, cases at tribunal, things like that. Of course, it should be accorded all the respects.
The paraphernalia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And of that office. And that's why it's not anything unusual, for him to be given that house, and also for visitors to begin to visit the place, for one thing or the other. And like as you can see, I saw, on the clip you just showed, of course, the first callers are those who are looking for his support.
His endorsement.
Yes, exactly.
He's so powerful. Is he more powerful than the president now? I mean, the outgoing president.
Yeah, of course. I mean, once the elections are held and a winner has been declared, the president is just waiting.
Oh my God.
To just hand over.
And
not much.
People will start to shift loyalty of sorts and all that.
Certainly, because it is the office, not the person, actually.
Yeah, it's not the person. Any other person.
It could be any other person.
You, and that is what I wanted to ask, because you contested on the Action Democratic Party.
Yes, we did.
Its presidential candidate.
Yes.
But it's curious when some of the candidates, they have all gone to court, but you didn't go to court. Why is it that you didn't go to court? You are satisfied with the outcome of the election?
Yes, democracy, like it's something that it's all encompassing. We are talking about governance, all encompassing in the sense that elections are a fact of life, in democracy.
Yeah.
And somebody must win or lose, isn't it?
Yes.
So, but I'm not in any way indicting or finding fault with those who went to tribunal.
Okay.
Because what it does is that it reinforces, the structures of the governance.
So even going to court strengthens the system.
It does. It does strengthen the system.
It does not distract?
It gives you, not at all, because don't forget that the Electoral Act 2022 this is the first outing. This maiden outing of that.
Test its validity and potency.
Exactly. So it's important to test the provisions of that act, in the court of law, so that we'll become more informed. We'll definitely, anything done by human beings definitely will suffer some mistakes, what you call teething problems. So when you go to court, it now focuses attention on those areas that people are not happy, with, and you'll be able to better strengthen the system by correcting those, mistakes, or deliberately, or by genuine human failure. It gives the opportunity to look at it not only from the political point of view, but also from the legal point of view, and it affords researchers and students of history to have something that they can always make reference to.
All right.
With authority that yes, this is what happened and this is what the court says on this matter. So those who went to court, believe you me, I dove my heart for them, and I encourage, because it's also recognized by the process in any case, that if you are not happy with the outcome, go to court, and the court is there to listen to you, because by listening to you, we gain more in terms of knowledge, in terms of how to do it better next time around.
Yeah. You being the IPAC chairman, Inter-Party Advisory Council, and you have almost all these parties. IPAC is the umbrella, but the fact that you, who is also a presidential candidate, did not go, IPAC did not in any way say, okay, let's coalesce into a force again and confront APC. Some believe that you have punctured whatever effort Atiku, Obi, and few others that they will make at the court.
No, not at all. Not at all. The court is there to look at what has been presented, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not minding whether somebody else has not gone to court, or whether it does not really matter, what IPAC does or does not do. The court's supposed to look at the merit of what is presented by these compatriots, because they are people that are passionate about the development of this country. They want to see that this country develops, at such a rate that will surpass even those that today we started with, but are now, described as developed economies. So that's why, the Atiku, Obi, and others who went to court.
Yes.
They didn't go to court because...
Including the lady, the sole presidential candidate
Exactly.
who got...
Yeah,
25,000 or something around that.
Yeah, so that's the beauty of democracy. So the fact that IPAC did not... And we did make an intervention, if you remember.
Yeah.
At the Collation Center, we
Yes.
came out and said that the process must go on because we cannot afford to have a kind of truncated,
Were you thinking that when Dino Malai, who is now gubernatorial candidate of PDP in Kogi State, when he made case for the process of collation at the International Conference Center to stop, were you thinking that if they agree with him, it will truncate the process and it will affect transition?
No, because it will be a roller coaster where we land with anyone's guess at that point in time. Because don't forget that there are people that... It's not everybody that likes this democracy to even...
Thrive.
Yeah, in Nigeria, both within and outside Nigeria. So we have to be very careful. We have to nurture it. We have to guard it. We have to protect it. This hard-earned democracy deserves, all the protection we can give to it.
So in IPAC...
So this is why, at that point in time, the unknown is what we're afraid of. And the unknown could be anything.
Yes.
So we believe that allowing the process to go on does not in any way, take away your rights, to seek redress, to be heard. And at that point in time, the results being delivered, it's something. It's part of the process. In any case, that's what INEC is supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's another thing if they are not doing it in the proper way, as per the guidelines. You have a chance to come back.
Or they violated
their own guidelines
entirety.
Yes, exactly, entirety. Yeah. Well, it doesn't mean that they should stop. Because the process does not say they should stop. And that's why it says at the end of the process, approach the court. It's a legitimate process. It's legitimate action that they have taken. And in fact, it's because they believe in this country. That's why they went to court.
Yeah.
So that what happened will not have a repeat, in the future elections.
Yeah.
And depending on how the court looks at it,
As IPAC, you are ready to listen to the court.
Certainly.
And whatever comes out, you respect.
Yeah, as Democrats, and as lovers of this country, as far as democracy is concerned, we are ready to accept whatever the verdict of the court is, because we believe that they are also Nigerians.
Yeah.
And definitely, those who are in the judiciary are people that I believe will want democracy to succeed, because they are also beneficiary of a successful democracy.
Okay, you met as IPAC and you issued a statement advising the powers that be. This includes the National Working Committee of the ruling party, the president-elect, and all others, to ensure that Senate President comes from either South-South or Southeast. What informed this decision?
Well, zoning has become a very strong element in our democratic development. And this is because of our make, the fact that Nigeria, if you like, you can call it collection of nations, where people with diverse, background, ethnicity, religion, region, all these have become factors.
So many issues, yeah.
Yes, factors. And if you look at from the primaries until now, it has been factored into how, some of these candidates emerged. It's not that one is in any way promoting, those primordial sentiments and things like that. No, but the reality of the situation is that we're already there. You mentioned APC. APC deliberately zoned the presidency to the southwest, isn't it? Yeah. And since nobody could stop it, it has happened, it has happened.
The federal government is reportedly planning to introduce a supplementary budget following the suspension of subsidy removal on petroleum products by the National Economic Council, NEC. The suspension was made in response to widespread protests against the removal of subsidies on fuel and electricity tariffs. The Federal Executive Council, FEC, has directed the Ministry of Finance to work on the supplementary budget to accommodate the changes resulting from the suspension. This decision was reached at a meeting of the Federal Executive Council on Wednesday. It is worth noting that the suspension of subsidy removal was not actually a unanimous decision by the NEC. Some members of the council opposed the decision, arguing that the subsidy regime was unsustainable and that the funds saved from subsidy removal could be better used to finance infrastructure and social development projects. However, the majority of the council believed that the timing was not right for such a move, given the current economic challenges facing the country. The suspension of subsidy removal has brought some relief to the masses who have been grappling with the high cost of living resulting from the hike in fuel and electricity prices. Also, the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abu Bakr Malami, has declared as baseless the alleged illegal sale of 48 million barrels of crude oil export in 2015 to China, currently being probed by a House of Representatives ad hoc committee. Malami made this disclosure in Abuja while appearing before the House ad hoc committee on investigating the alleged loss of over $2.4 billion in oil, crude oil revenue from exports since 2014 till date, while acknowledging that his office received a letter from the whistleblower to that effect. He said there was no detailed information on the alleged deal by the whistleblower. Hence, no further investigation was carried out by the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation. Let's have a look at the excerpts.
You repeated severally that all the recoveries, even the ones you made by yourself, were deposited asset recovery accounts. Because we are assuming on this part, before we conclude, we still want a guide from you, that part of what is causing the misinformation is because maybe the process or the procedure, we have been contravening them.
If you have, for example, a revenue being maintained dedicated to asset recovery for the purpose of transparency and accountability of it, at the end of the day, the monies that goes into the asset recovery account find its way to which account? To the account being referred to under section 162, which indeed the Federation, the allegation is unfounded, is lacking in merit, and indeed lacking in substance. It is, in its own right, the allegation devoid of any reasonable ground pointing to a material suspicion and cogent enough to invoke the constitutional oversight of the committee. Why do I say so? Mr. Chairman, sometimes in 2016, allegations were rife and hyped in the social media. There were allegations of existence of stolen 48 million barrels of Nigerian crude oil in China, said to have been valued at 2.4 billion. The President Muhammadu Buhari, informally requested the Attorney General, making reference to my humble person, Mele Kyari, former DGSS Lawal Daura, and late Abba Kyari, to look into it and advise. But unfortunately, Mr. Chairman, for there to be a reasonable ground for suspicion, at least you require certain basic facts.
Hello viewers, welcome to Daily Politics. I am Hamza Idris. Tonight on the program we are joined by Baba Yusuf. He's an expert, a strategist, policy analyst and the CEO of Global Investment and Trade Company. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Hamza.
And our subject of discussion, of course, is the back and forth around fuel subsidy removal and crude oil theft. Once again, welcome. We'll take a short break, and when we return, the conversation commences. Don't go away. Yes, Baba Yusuf, how did you receive the decision by the National Economic Council to suspend the planned subsidy removal?
I'm not surprised, Hamza. People that have been following some of my conversations in the media and articles, some of us have said before now that the action of the federal government, even though well-intentioned with regards to the removal of subsidy, is without any properly thought out and frameworked overarching strategy. Removal of subsidy is a very, very big issue and big deal. And one would have expected over the years since 2015, to have worked out a roadmap, a strategy and roadmap to achieve this very critical objective. Because indeed, if we need to move forward in this country, I am one of those that believe the subsidy should be removed. It is a gaping hole, a slush fund, throughput for some corrupt cartel. We need to do away with it. But the hows and the whens are the critical success factors. And that lack of overarching strategy is what has led us to this
mess.
I don't know what to call it, the kind of dance to call it, is it a backsliding style or whatever?
Yes.
Kind of dance we are seeing, which actually leaves much to be desired.
At the twilight of an administration.
At the twilight of an administration, now 30 to 31 days to the swearing in of the incoming president, Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You see this acrobatic dance, yes, that is it, being done at the Executive Council level to say, okay, they are cancelling or suspending the removal of subsidy.
Yes.
Of course, if for over 7 years, this administration was not able to be sure-footed with regards to that, based on whatever reasons they have, then it is only logical right from the beginning of this year, even build up to the budget, to make adequate provisions in the 2023 budget to cater for the subsidy, to allow the next dispensation, the incoming president,
instead of saying it will lapse by June.
to think through and work out a strategic blueprint based on what I call the book of reality that the incoming president will open. Post 2023.
What is therein in that book of reality?
What are the real issues on the table for him?
And the
not
book
based
of
on projections or assumptions. And that will guide his thinking with his economic team to say this is the way he wants to chart the way forward, in fairness to the incoming president. But all these actions, for us, were not actions, they leave much to be desired because they are uncalled for. Plan for 2023 for the budget to carry the subsidy.
You're talking about the whole of 2023.
Yes, and allow the incoming president to deal with it since this administration was not able to do it due to some certain reasons. I will believe they have their good reasons, but
Don't you think they were living in denial? I mean,
well, whatever it may be.
From 2015, of course, before the President Buhari took over during his campaigns, he actually denied anything subsidy. He said,
absolutely.
What is subsidy?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and when he came in, of course, people expected that after opening the book, the proverbial book you mentioned,
I call, the book of reality.
When he saw it, he ought to have acted on that, maybe during his first tenure, but he did not. Some analysts said because it's actually a time bomb, maybe he wanted second tenure. Now he got the second tenure, now less than about 1 month to go and look at the back and forth about it. So who should we blame?
To be honest, political narratives, campaign promises are different from what I call the reality of governance. And that is where I refer to that book, calling it the book of reality, and that is the handover notes document that will be handed over to an incoming president or to an incoming governor.
Yeah.
Those will carry, largely the facts. And then the reality check is what the incoming leader, president or governor, will now see through with his economic team or with his team, as the case may be, as what are the actual, what you call the situation analysis that will precipitate the real issues.
So maybe they find ignorance all this.
So let's go back to 2015.
Yes.
Beyond the narratives, General Buhari came into government and opened the book of reality and saw something different from what he was seeing on the sidelines. Great. And based on that, move according to the realities. But then, notwithstanding, if the narrative or the position of the government is subsidy must go, one would have expected, like I said, a strategy to be formulated and to be followed through based on the, the depth of the political will of the president.
Yeah.
Of course, in fairness to this government, also, if we want to be fair, we have COVID-19 that came, the vagaries of COVID-19 impacted significantly.
But how long did COVID-19 last?
Notwithstanding, we cannot shy away from the fact that COVID impacted significantly globally and nationally. That being said, we expected
2020.
Yes,
but that was almost 5 years.
Yes, that being said, one would have expected a tweak in the strategy.
Yeah,
that's where I'm heading to.
Okay.
You have a strategy, you are moving, distortions come in due to things like force majeure, like a COVID-19. But one would have expected a rejig in the strategy. Whatever the case may be, at the twilight of administration, you don't rush, to what I call inadvertently create confusion.
To load over
and load
liabilities.
risks.
Yeah.
Now, it is obvious that this cannot cut it by June. Don't forget, between May and June and July, some critical building blocks of the next administration will be put in place. The president will be sworn in. Governors will be sworn in. And then in June, the 10th Assembly will be sworn in. All right?
Yeah.
So you have a government that's coming and getting ready to go into the job of governance. And then boom, by June, the assumption is the subsidy will be removed. I mean, that is a booby trap. And I'm happy, let me say this, I'm very happy that wisdom has prevailed and logic has prevailed finally. And they have decided not to remove the subsidy by June, because it is totally unfair, I've been saying it, on the incoming president for this decision to be taken, before they take office. I believe they should be allowed to come in, see what is on ground, and take decision in line with what will actually work for them. For example, if they come into government, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been consistent that subsidy should be removed, and rightly so. However, like I said, the hows and the whens, he may decide how he's going to do it. Is he going to stagger the process? How is he going to do it? Including the $800 million, dollars palliative, and all those things that have been, worked on by this government should be handed over to the incoming president to decide how he wants to proceed.
Okay, that is where the issue, the story of today, that the federal government is planning to now have, is it environment or to another budget to now accommodate the gap, because what they provided in the 2023 budget will lapse by June, right? End of May. Now they are going to have another budget. So my thinking is, because nobody is saying anything, what happens to the 800 million they got from the World Bank?
There is no clarity with regards to that. While I was reading the breaking news, on one of the dailies, which includes Daily Trust, I saw some conversations about preparation, for that, for the subsidy removal, which includes seeing how they can prepare this $800 million. I don't want to preempt, but what I will expect government to do in the interest of fairness, transparency, is to stand down all action. I've been saying this right from the time this was announced. Stay action on anything that has to do with this $800 million.